In the headlines, the Public Service Union says not interested to an invitation to discuss the state of the economy with the Prime Minister. A top government official says the latest report on Dominica's fight against money laundering does not suggest that island will attract sanctions, and a proposal for a business support structure for skilled music professionals. I am Kenny Williams with the Channel 5 News. Back with the details after this. First up, the Public Service Union says it is not interested in a meeting proposed by the Prime Minister with other organizations to discuss the country's economic situation. The Cabinet Forum with trade unions and private sector bodies is expected to be convened on April 24, as announced by the Prime Minister at the Loda Town Hall meeting on Wednesday evening. However, PSU General Secretary Thomas Layton says discussions on the state of the economy should have taken place long before salary negotiations began.
So that when a union submits its proposal, you submit a proposal bearing in mind what you have been told and the statistics that have been, or the data that have been provided. I believe that the Prime Minister's pronouncement must have been engineered by what he got from the IMF, because the day of our rally, which was on the 16th, I think, we met with the IMF and we made it clear to the IMF that we were disappointed that the government has never been dialoguing with us or having consultation with us with regard to the state of the economy, and that we were very disturbed by the fact that government only wait until we have negotiations to tell us what the real state of the economy is, even if before that they would have been telling you that the economy has been doing well.
Layton says his executive had also expressed their concerns to visiting officials of the Caribbean Center for Development Administration. On another note, he pointed out that his executive would have preferred to meet with the Prime Minister exclusively.
We represent only teachers. With us, we represent several disciplines within the public service, as well as statutory institutions, which are owned by the government of Dominica. So we have issues, we have problems that are specific to the areas where we represent and the vast number of public officers or different disciplines within the public service. So we believe a meeting has to be one of any. First of all, let me say we are not adverse to meeting with the Prime Minister. But if we have to meet with the Prime Minister, it has to be a meeting with just our union, because we have issues. The PSU will not be attending any joint meeting with anybody. We want to have if there is going to be a meeting, it has to be a meeting with us, and we will consider that.
In related news, Prime Minister and Finance Minister Roosevelt Skerrit says government cannot afford to agree to any salary increases for this period. He says he would like the trade unions to understand why government cannot meet its demand.
We cannot pay more than we're earning. An employer who is making $5,000 a week cannot go and commit $6,000 a week.
Skerrit says he would like trade unions and other civil society organizations to join his cabinet at a consultation on April 24 to discuss the state of the economy. He says they should expect invitations soon.
And I've indicated to my financial secretary my willingness to facilitate a meeting of the entire social and economic partnership in our country. We need to sit around the table and examine the facts and reality, because no country is going to give you money to meet your recurrent expenditure. It must come from what we are generating, what we are earning in the country.
The finance minister reasons that other government programs will be at risk of being cancelled if government decides to give public servants salary increases at this time.
Any risk a government takes, any gamble a government takes, when that gamble fails, when that risk comes to pass, somebody has to pay for it. And you saw how much you paid for the recklessness of the United Workers' Party government. The levy we had to impose on you. We had to send people home. We had to cut public servant salaries, make serious cuts, imposition of additional taxes and increased taxes to ensure we could have brought our country back to a sound footing. While the CBI might be making money and doing well, it should not be used for recurrent expenditure. What we're using the funds for is to set the economy on a sustainable path. Investing in agriculture, investing in tourism, investing in education of our children, investing in infrastructure to attract further investments, to make our country safer for ourselves and for visitors.
United Workers' Party leader Honorable Lennox Linton has weighed in on the current stalemate in public servant salary negotiations with government.
The opposition leader believes government's approach needs to be updated. In recent times, both the Public Service Union and Police Welfare Association have expressed frustration over salary negotiations with government. In light of government's latest wage freeze to public servants, Mr. Linton believes perhaps it's time for a fresh approach. Linton, who was involved in human resources management years ago, says he had the privilege of negotiating many contracts here and overseas.
Long ago, since before I left human resources, which is more than 10 years ago now, I've not been involved in that. But at that point, back in the early part of the decade, beginning in 2000, we had already moved to win-win negotiations, where, you know, this business of hiding information and coming with this false position of, oh, okay, we can only offer you 0, and then we come up to 1 and 2. You know, we have gone past that in global affairs, and it is time for the government to get realistic and to get serious.
Mr. Linton says given government's distribution of CBI funds, it can afford to give public servants an increase. However, the Prime Minister has said it's dangerous for any government to rely on funds generated under the Citizenship by Investment program to meet recurrent expenditure, and that both the IMF and the Central Bank have advised against using CBI funds for recurrent expenditure.
Government has really failed to use a lot of the money available to Dominica in a way that creates a sustainable economy, in a way to sustain a sustainable economy that is growing. We now know at the level of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union that we need to grow the economy by 5%. And the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, through the Monetary Council, on which Mrs. Carrot sits, is trying to get 60,000 new jobs into the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union by 2025. That's the goal.
Linton says that discussion was held at the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank's Growth Forum in St. Kitts, attended by the opposition, government, and civil society representatives.
In other news, Vice President of the Association of Music Professionals, Darrell Bob, is calling on skilled professionals to form a business support structure for artists and musicians. He told a press conference on Thursday that AMP undertook development training for musicians and artists in 2016 to help strengthen the music sector. The training was made possible through a government subvention. He also said that the association was continuing to work with Aid Bank on $1 million in financing available to boost the sector. Bob believes a support structure for the sector will help make it sustainable.
We encourage business accountants, we encourage lawyers, go out there and study this thing, because there's a lot of potential in this. There's big opportunity in there. And you can set up your own publishing companies, you can set up your own booking agent companies and so on. And that is what we really want to see happen, because what is lacking in Dominica, we are overwhelming with talent, yes, but there isn't business. There isn't business organizations here set up so that people can actually trade.
He also believes that money can be made if stakeholders look at music from a business standpoint.
And what I think we encourage musicians to do, apart from keep creating, but try to find yourself a manager, somebody who is knowledgeable enough and somebody who is trainable enough to team up with. Set up your own small board of directors, and tell them about it so that they can go in there and see and set up their own business plan for your own benefit. They're going to be working for you. And we encourage musicians to start thinking like that, because if musicians just walk into the Aid Bank and say, hey, I want a loan, that's going to be a lot of bad loans, And I'm sorry to say it that way, but it's going to be a lot of bad loans, because we create and play music. We seldom do enough business.
Coming up, a challenge to the newest graduates from Dominica State College and steps to improve TVET results. Thanks for staying with us. Dominica's fight against financial crimes has been highlighted in the U.S. State Department's 2017 International Narcotics Control Strategy Report on money laundering.
Dominica was not listed in the 2016 report, but its inclusion in the 2017 report has raised eyebrows. That report says it's not clear whether Dominica has the ability to maintain statistics on matters relevant to the effectiveness and efficiency of its anti-money laundering regime. What's worse, it goes on to say that currently, Dominica is not subject to any U.S. or international sanctions, almost leaving the door open for the possibility depending on the reader's perspective. Additionally, Dominica's listing comes at a time when government is under fire from critics over alleged corruption and mismanagement of the CBI. But in spite of this, the report goes on to outline the country's key anti-money laundering laws, including but not limited to the Money Laundering Prevention Act, Financial Services Unit Act, Financial Intelligence Unit Act, Proceeds of Crime Act, and the Exchange of Information Act. The preamble says the report is conducted by the U.S. State Department using the best information that they have at the time.
The report is confirming that Dominica has in place comprehensive legislation to deal with anti-money laundering. And it goes on to say the government enacted legislation to combat money laundering and talks about the proceeds of crime. Lower down, the legislation clearly sets out provisions with which relevant entities are bound to comply. The report is not suggesting that Dominica as a jurisdiction is not doing all that it should be doing to address money laundering offences and occurrences. It is simply saying that there are incidents of money laundering here, as indeed there are in all of the other jurisdictions, some I think 90 plus that are listed in this. And what it's really saying is that these are, we have to keep looking and keep trying to work and trying to reduce, if not eliminate, money laundering because money laundering is considered to be a global threat.
But how vulnerable is Dominica to the possibility of facing U.S. or international sanctions over its AML regime?
Under the heading Anti-Money Laundering Deficiencies, the report states as follows: Dominica has achieved compliance with international anti-money laundering standards. Dominica is in compliance with its international AML requirements and obligations, and it is not under any international U.S. or international sanctions. So the report is not suggesting that Dominica is somehow in default or even close to being in default. It is actually telling you that Dominica is doing a very good job, but we can't afford to rest on our laurels. We have to keep making sure that we have legislation which is in place which can help to combat money laundering in the jurisdiction.
On to education now. The 104 newest graduates of the Dominica State College have been challenged to use their education to best navigate in an ever-changing global environment. The words of advice came from President of the college, Dr. Donald Peters, when he addressed the spring commencement ceremony on Wednesday.
The course of study you have done here at Dominica State College has given you the academic tools you need to compete with others globally for employment and academic transfer. As a graduate, this is the time you need to think about what your future in that global village, what is your future going to be like, and what kind of world you are going to enter as a graduate. Imagine last year when I was here and I spoke to the graduate in class, Barack Obama was president of the United States. Today, there's a new president. One who do not seem to understand what it means to be a president for all of America. A year ago also, the UK was a strong member of the EU. Today, following Brexit, the UK has left the EU. So these are just two national world global events as graduates that you need to understand. And you need to seize all of the education and skills that you can acquire that will help you navigate this very unstable world that we currently live in.
Meantime, keynote speaker and lecturer at DSC, Trudy Christian, urged the graduating class to never doubt the quality and value of their education.
Many of you may start to doubt the importance of your education, sometimes because of the pervasive pull string culture which exists today, where it's often not the most highly qualified, but instead the most advantageously connected people who seem to get the best opportunities. But I have seen the power of education. I've seen firsthand the value of intellectual currency. I've seen people reach the pinnacle of success through grit, hard work, and determination. And let me assure you today, you did the right thing by sticking to your goals and completing your various programs at the Dominica State College. The well-deserved opportunity with a strong knowledge and skill set to back it up will always, dear graduates, always be more rewarding than one obtained otherwise.
The Ministry of Education is taking steps to ensure better performances for students in this year's CVQ's certification. Andrea Louis has more.
Over the past 6 years, more than $10 million had been pumped into the country's technical and vocational education and training TVET program in secondary schools. So far, 3 schools are equipped with top-of-the-line equipment needed to register students for the Caribbean Vocational Qualification CVQ. The past 3 years have been spent piloting the CVQ program, and last year, for the first time, Dominica registered 28 students for certification. Senior Education Officer in the Curriculum Measurement and Evaluation Unit, Robert Geist, says lessons have been learned from last year's participation in the CVQ, which will help ensure better performances from students this year.
The CVQ centers, they must look like the real thing. They must look like the real working world. So if students leave the Automech Grammar School and they're employed at Auto Trade, we have to provide the same experience that they're going to meet. So one of our challenges was upgrading the facilities were not, some of the facilities were not up to standard. However, I should say that as of last year, the government of Dominica approved over $100,000 for the upgrade of the facilities. So we have done some work. We have repaired a lot of the facilities. We still have more to repair, but we have learned something from the pilot and we are putting it into place.
Teachers who facilitate the TVET programs had been trained at various institutions around the region, and Geist says there is a growing demand among students to participate in TVET.
The number of students who want to pursue the CVQ subjects, we don't have the facility, we don't have the capability to cater for them. In fact, grammar school told me they had over 50 students who are interested in doing auto mechanics. And the CVQ program, it requires a maximum of 15 students per program because you have one teacher and it is a lot of work. And one teacher, it would be very, very, very difficult for one teacher to handle more than 15 students. At Northeast, the students want to do the agriculture. In fact, at every one of our schools, the students are opting for the skills.
Among the CVQ programs for which students can register are garment production, auto mechanics, woodwork, and culinary arts. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
Meantime, one of the TVET teachers is calling on parents to show more support for the skills-based subjects. Victor Jones, who is the woodwork teacher at the grammar school, says parents should be more encouraging to their children showing interest in the non-academic subjects.
Because a lot of parents don't want the students to be involved in more in the skills, they prefer the academics. They want the students to be in the POBs and sciences. So we want to get the parents to know that the skills are very important. And the skills can be both part-time and full-time after school. There are many doctors and lawyers involved in the agriculture, involved in their woodwork, involved in their skills.
The TVET instructor pointed out that CVQ certification and participation in TVET can provide a good future for students.
To the parents, I would say the skills today is very beneficial. The students, a lot of them that you teach, they make a lot more money than you, and a lot more money than you when they're finished. So I think it's very beneficial to them because what we're looking for after school is some way of getting money, some legal way of getting money. So I think the skills is one of the ways that you can do that.
Jones says students generally perform well in TVET, and last year's participants in the CVQ did exceptionally well.
Up to yesterday, we were here about 5:30, and many of them didn't want to leave. So they like the hands-on aspect of it. In terms of the other part of the program where you have to do the write-up, sometimes we get little problems with them doing the write-up and research. But in terms of the hands-on aspect of it, no problems. Last year we had a small group of 6, and they all passed. Yeah, so we had 100% pass last year. this year we expect about the same 100%.
That's news. Sports is next. First up in sports, West Indies went down to Pakistan by 3 runs in the second T20 on Thursday. The home side won the toss and elected to field, with Pakistan reaching 132 all out. S. Malik scored 28, with Babar Azam supporting with 27. Sunil Narayan bagged 3 for 22, Carlos Brathwaite 3 for 37, and Samuel Badri 2 for 14. Set 113 to win, the Windies fell short and reached 129 for 8. Marlon Samuels had a game high of 44, with an undefeated 26 from Jason Holder and a 21 from Chadwick Walton. Shadab Khan took 4 for 14 for Pakistan. The visiting side led the series 2-0. Next up, one local track athlete will get a chance to improve his skills, compliments an initiative by the International Federation of Athletics. Those comments from President of the Dominica Amateur Athletics Association, Godwin Dorset, at the opening of the Sports Division Secondary Schools Athletics Championships on Thursday.
Yesterday, Mr. Derek Sejan, one of our most outstanding sprinter during the Secondary Schools Athletics Championship, was left Dominica for a track sponsorship or a track scholarship in Jamaica. And you know Jamaica is the mecca of sprint in the world. So Derek Seja will be training in Jamaica for the rest of for the coming 3 months due to a scholarship given to him by the International Federation of Athletics.
The sports division has implemented a new strategy to improve the Dominican squad's chances in track and field in this year's Windward Islands competition.
Last year at the games in Grenada, our track and field team did not perform as expected, and we've decided, in order to arrest the shortcomings that we had in 2016, we decided to commence the training period a lot earlier. And I want to encourage you to respond to the training so that when we come around to July, August for the 2017 games in St. Vincent, that we can present a much better show, a better showing in the field of track and field.
In football, there were wins for the Isaiah Thomas and Portsmouth Secondary Schools in the DFA Sports Division Girls League on Wednesday.
Isaiah Thomas Secondary defeated Orion Academy 4-1 at the Stock Farm Complex. Jody Joseph registered a hat-trick for ITSS, with Lanaya Thomas scoring 1. Christelle Victorine scored for Orion Academy. While at the Benjamin Park, Portsmouth Secondary went past Northeast Comprehensive 4-1. Star Humphreys from the back of the nets twice for PSS, with Khalid Clark scoring 1. Lana Jack got the lone goal for Northeast Comprehensive.
Meantime, Windward Islands Volcanoes' recent win against the Leeward Islands Hurricanes has pushed them to 4th place in the point standing of the WICB PCL Regional 4-Day Tournament. At the end of round 8, Guyana Jaguars is in the dominant position with 109.8 points, followed by Barbados Pride with 99.2. With 4 wins and 3 losses, Jamaica Scorpions is third on 95.2 points, followed by locally based Volcanoes on 74.2. Leewards follow on 66.4, and it's Trinidad and Tobago Red Force 63.8. Round 9 begins on April 7 between Volcanoes and Scorpions in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Pride versus Red Force in Barbados. That's all the sporting highlights for now. Join us next time. We check in now with the Met Office for the latest weather update.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I am your presenter, Annie Correct Joseph. Weak and stable conditions affected the Lesser Antilles today, resulting in fair to occasionally cloudy skies over the region. Visible satellite imagery showed generally fair weather over Dominica during the afternoon, and this was as a result of some dry sinking air in the area. Radar imagery indicated some widely scattered showers over the Lesser Antilles this afternoon. Conditions for tonight fear to partly cloudy skies with a few scattered showers, and this weather pattern is expected to continue into tomorrow, Friday. Sea conditions, slight to moderate in open water with waves up to 5 feet. Beautiful weather conditions can be expected over the next 3 days, fair to partly cloudy skies with a few scattered showers. Across the region tomorrow, partly cloudy to cloudy skies with some scattered showers can be expected over the extreme northern portion of the island chain. However, the central and extreme southern portions will enjoy fair to partly cloudy skies with some scattered showers. On the international scene, overcast skies with rain in New York, partly cloudy skies with some thunderstorm in Miami, partly cloudy skies with some rain in London and Caracas, and clear skies in Beijing. The sun will rise tomorrow at 6:01 a.m. and set at 6:18 p.m. For up-to-date information, log on to our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Thank you for viewing and join us next time. Good night.
To end the news, the headlines again. The Public Service Union says not interested to an invitation to discuss the state of the economy with the Prime Minister. A top government official says the latest report on Dominica's fight against money laundering does not suggest that island will attract sanctions, and a proposal for a business report structure for skilled music professionals. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Kenny Williams. To our viewers around the world, thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.